Hi everybody, just want to share something really quick with our supporters and for those that may be a supporter one day. We have just received our food bank delivery. Most of the stuff is coming from EFAT. We have found out that EFAT is getting an increase from City Council, which is such a great help to us. And we really didn't have any other resources coming in for the summer. So this was kind of a tremendous help to us for all the extra food that we will be getting. As right now, this is the food that just came today. We had got a phone call from the New York Times, and they wanted to do a story on this increase for EFAT because of the great demand and the great need for this. EFAT is like our lifeline, especially now because our food allocations are kind of exhausted, and how are we going to continue to feed the families that are coming here? We have to keep in mind that we have 9,000 registered families. And I'm not saying every one of them are active, but they're in need when they do come, and many just continue to come because there's no other resources for them. So I want to personally thank EFAT for hearing our cry, for helping us with extra allocation. I want to thank the council, City Council, for recognizing the fact that they need the extra funding that they will be receiving as well, and continued, because it's going to help us as well. And you can see that families are still finding their way to fight their own food insecurity, and every day there's people registering with us, just about. So I want to also thank my foundations that help us keep these doors open, and the Howard E. Stark Charitable Foundation. Thank you for what you do for almost a decade. To support what we do. There's a few other foundations that are kicking in. I mean, we do really need the support because we can have food, but we also have to pay the rent and pay the workers, pay so many different bills that a part of the program's need. But we actually operate on the lowest budget that I know so far when it comes to a food program with these many people. I'm going to go inside and speak to the New York Times to answer the questions that they have. So just wanted to give you a little update on what's happening here at Reaching Out Community Services.
Yeah. So yeah, basically I'm just writing a story about what the increase in EFAT funding is going to mean for organizations like you, and then kind of putting it in context of the national discussion about cutting food stamps.
Right.
And how that would disproportionately impact
Well, I mean, first of all,
sorry, just
you're recording?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, the EFAT is like our lifeline right now. I'll be honest with you. Having over 9,000 plus families that are registered here, it's really hard to secure foods.
9,000 people come here every month?
They're registered here.
Okay.
They're registered. But we get some people that are obviously going to be a continual, recipient because either our seniors, they're living on their fixed incomes and Social Security. People with disability, they're not going to get a job with a rod in their back. So you always have your constant people. Then you have, the working poor, a lot of single mothers, parents as well. So, we've been going through some tough times throughout the years, and EFAT has actually been such a great help. And if they are going to increase it, I think that's going to be a tremendous help to a lot of our food pantries.
So, how long have you been in your role here?
I'm sorry?
How long have you been in your role here?
Well, I'm the founder as well
Okay.
as the executive director. 27 years now. Started as a homeless outreach program, and now it became a food pantry very shortly after that. I never thought I still will be doing this today. I figured after 2.5 decades, hunger would have kind of dissipated. But no, I think it's worse now than it ever has been before.
So, is this a faith-based organization?
No.
Okay. So, I guess, did you guys struggle to meet need last year?
We kind of struggled every year to meet need. sometimes the demand is much more greater than the resources that we can secure. We depend on, the food bank for New York City, City Harvest is really where our food resources come from, especially more with the food bank, because they become like the mothership when it comes to EFAD, when it comes to other, allocations. So, we had, unfortunately, had to turn away, hundreds of families to different parts of the year, especially now, when things start to quiet down on food security. We have to.
What do you mean?
Our allocations become exhausted because it works in a fiscal year, so that by the end of June, we have to now wait for the new allocation through different resources.
So when does that come in?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think hopefully that'll be pretty soon. Again, the EFAD, they just helped us out tremendously to get us through the summer months. So that's going to be a tremendous difference for us to deal with.
Is EFAP where the majority of your food comes from?
I wouldn't know if it's the majority, but it does have a fair scale of food that we're receiving that kind of helps us to prevent turning away people.
Okay.
And hearing now that I think that this is going to be a tremendous help. If they could increase EFAD, if we can actually secure more food from them, again, that would be our lifeline to continue to help the families that are in need, not turn away the families, which we had to do in the past, and also prevent people from coming to register for the first time.
Right.
We went through those issues, and I'm hoping, I don't believe we're going to have to do that right now, knowing that EFAD is stepping up to the plate, if I may, and trying to ensure us that we should have enough now to help the families that are coming here.
So what are the other main sources that your food comes from? You mentioned City Harvest. Do a lot of people do you get like individual donations? Is there any federal funding involved? Private donations?
You have certain schools throughout the year that would do a food drive. Some churches as well.
Mm-hmm. What are the names of some of the schools?
You got PS 180, you got PS 186, you have I believe it's PS or IS, I was getting confused. 48. Some local schools in the community will do that. Church like St. Mary, Mother of Jesus Church, they actually every month for the last 8 years have been doing a food drive for us. I think that's wonderful. You have St. Francis Cabrini is also very supportive to our church. So, we're very thankful for that. But, when you have so many families registered, we're pushing a lot of food in and out, so to speak. So, you only have 200 or 300 families, different story. But when you have 9,000 families registered, and if 4,000 or 5,000 are going to be actively coming to help with their food insecurity.
Is that about how many?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
You
get people
on like a monthly basis?
Yes.
Okay.
You have people that, have registered with us, needed it for the first 6 months, got themselves on their feet again, only to find themselves, that might have lost their job, got laid off, and back here again. Because there's only choice between sometimes finding a food pantry or shoplifting. Where else would you get your food from?
Right.
Reaching out, kind of stands alone in our community. We actually serve 16 diverse zip codes. I don't want to recreate the wheel. We're not here to wow, look how many people we're feeding. Aren't we great? No, that's nonsense. What we're here to make sure that we make wrong right. We prevent hunger if all possible. I don't want to recreate the wheel. So if you have a food pantry in your zip code, and it's significant, I'm not talking about talking once a week for an hour, giving out 3 items. That's nonsense to me. If I can't be helpful, then I don't need to be here. So I don't find many programs around the areas that we surround and serve, and that's the reason why we're kind of subject to that demand, because I can't say let's go someplace, or you can go over here, you can go there. And even though we have 16 zip codes, it's not subject to that. I have people from the Bronx that call, so the only local food pantry I can find that will be open is, open Tuesday, and it's Friday, and we don't have anything. So I'll allow them to come for emergency food, of course. But if I start registering the whole world, then I'm only making damage to the program instead of good.
Are there limits on how much food people can take, how often they can come? What are sort of the parameters that you have set up?
Well, I mean, we're a digital program, so we are a touch screen digital food pantry. That means that people could actually choose their foods based on their dietary needs,
Okay.
instead of me telling them what they should eat. So with that, they could actually choose the foods that are here. It really is going to be kind of predicated to what's secured for them to actually choose from. I mean, there's other months where we'll have different items than we would in previous months.
Right.
We like to give healthy food, so we try to do fresh fruits and vegetables and stuff in that sense, instead of just, pop a meal in the microwave. So we do have a variation of different food items, and they're able to choose their foods based on what would be best for their family.
Is there a limit to how much food you can take out, though? I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, food pantries are not like, well, we're going to feed you and your family for the rest of your life. I mean, these are subsidies. These are help you get through the times when you have exhausted your food stamps. Because food stamps is not really a lot. And that's only because if you go to the store today, like I do, and I walk out with 2 bags, and it costs me $90, like, what did I buy? So I say, how do families with 3 kids or whatever, how do they do this? So food stamps doesn't get you through the month. It will get you through the moment.
Right.
So food pantries become the subsidy for that. It becomes a lifeline to many people. I mean, people have told me because they make $4 or $5 more in their Social Security, whatever it is, they're denied food stamps, or maybe get a minimal of like $20. And we would know that because we actually process food stamps here, so we see what goes on. So it's just really a choice of what they get is basically what we can secure, for that very real reason why we need to depend so much on like the food bank, EFAD, HIPNAP, and City Harvest. This is going to be where we can actually help the people, is what we're able to secure from them.
right. So can people come every single day? Are there limits to how many days you can come per month?
Most food pantries design every 30 days, or 15. It really depends. I can make it once a week and give you a bag. I can just take away the torture and just allow you to get your 3 or 4 bags, and you're done for the month.
So you're allowed to come once a month?
Once a month or every other month, every other week, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So they could be 15 days or 30 days. It really depends on the hardship of what the individual and the family is going through. So if you got somebody who came and they're registering for the first time, they just became unemployed, they're not going to get food stamps because their unemployment it seems to be exceeding the threshold for that. Your rent will already exhaust your unemployment, so you're in trouble. And this is where food pantries kick in, because where else would they get their food?
So I think on a federal level and on a city level, numbers indicate that food insecurity is declining. Do those numbers reflect what you see at your pantry here?
Food insecurity is declining?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I don't know, that maybe I live on another planet, because I see the increase. I don't see, and it's not like, oh, just knock on my door and here you go, we're just going to give you food. No, I believe in charity with intelligence. We do screen people with dignity, and just make sure that there's an amount of family members they do have. These are the issues that they are being challenged with. So if you're going to say, well, just give food to everybody, that's the reason why, food has become better and security has become better. No, I don't see that. I haven't seen that in 27 years. So, again, I see a lot of people, a lot of working poor. So you got people that are working. They can't get food stamps because they're making over the guideline to get food stamps. You almost have to be kind of homeless to get food stamps, to be honest with you. So why the rent is exhausting people's almost 3.5 weeks of working income, there's nothing really left. And so what's happening is people are trying to apply for food stamps. They're being denied because they make too much. But what they have left at the end of the month hardly even gives you the ability to buy food. And this is where food pantries kind of kick in.
are a lot of the people you come working poor? Do you serve a lot of homeless people as well?
Well, we have a homeless outreach program to begin
Okay.
with, so we have a bus that feeds homeless and so on.
So that's separate from.
That's separate from the
Okay.
food pantry. So we do actually have food homeless that come here.
Right.
But this food program is actually designed for people that are living home because they need to cook the items
Right.
and so on.
I see.
So if I gave homeless people,
Right, chicken.
frozen chicken,
Right.
they're not going to go far with that. So, we do have two separate programs to make that right. And again, I really haven't seen a decrease at all. I have been experiencing a decrease in support. That means I can have all the food in the world, but then sometimes how do I pay your staff and how do you pay your bills just to keep the program going?
So where does that funding come from?
Well, I'll be honest with you, a lot of prayer. We're being helped by certain foundations, like I would say the Guru Krupa.
How do you spell it?
Guru, Krupa, Krupa. And they've been extremely helpful for the longest time. I mean, they actually helped me with the bus to start the homeless outreach program once again.
So they don't.
They'll help support the pantry as well as, they're the ones that give me the money to buy the bus.
Right.
Along after them came the Northfield Charitable Bank Foundation.
With Northview?
Northfield?
Northview.
Northfield Bank Charitable Foundation.
Okay. So that's just a local Bay Area bank?
Well, they're in Staten Island.
Okay.
They'll help us, especially towards the
Okay.
homeless program. I mean, wonderful foundation called the Howard E. Stark Charitable Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
They have been with us for the last, 8 years or so. They were basically my lifeline in a sense to exist in the most challenging times. There's two different levels. We need the food, and when it comes to like EFAD and Food Bank and City Harvest, whatever, that's like our lifeline. And then I need to find a lifeline for us that would give us the support that we need to actually keep the lights on, so to speak.
So how much does it cost to run this pantry a year?
Well, it depends. As we grown because of the need, and if we've been able to secure more food, that means we need more labor. I think we have the lowest budget in New York. I mean, as an ED, I am the founder. I actually do not pay myself. I surrender my compensation. I get a little stipend, and that's only because the program couldn't afford to. So if I had to pay myself, and I live paycheck to paycheck myself, retired from the city 11 years ago, and that's okay because I never really considered this to be a job. It was a mission.
What was your job at this?
I worked for the New York Department of Sanitation
Okay.
at that time, and I have kind of, I would say prematurely retired because I'd done my 20 years, but I couldn't run both anymore.
Right.
And I would assume that one day I'll find another way to subsidize retiring so early, which never happened. But it's okay because that was my mission, that was my passion actually, is to make wrong right, to give people hope and relief. And all those things that are said out of the mouths of people are only proven by the actions. So I think that after 2.5 decades, I guess I'm truthful in my purpose of what I'm doing. So I think that's, it's great stuff. I think we all need to help out. I'm hoping that we can find other foundations out there that can actually see, you know what, you're really putting your heart and soul into this. And for them to chip in to make it right for us or help us to continue is really what I'm hoping for. And I'm
just to give readers and just myself a sense through like the raw numbers, like what does it take to run a place like this? Like how much money do you think you need to buy the food allocation per month, like estimates, like stuff like that?
Well, let's put it this way. Out of my 3 people that actually work for me, I need more.
So 3 paid workers?
Right. I mean, they're basically minimum wage.
Okay.
All right? I mean, that's how tough it is. And it's really tough for minimum wage people to support their children and pay for their rent.
Right.
So they're going to stay with me for a certain point and then have to go.
Right.
I can't give them the
security.
You know, right? I
Yeah.
couldn't give them health insurance.
Right.
If I try to do all that, we would just have to shut down, and I refuse to do that. So my hope is for those who are out there, if they really want to be altruistic, if they really want to support something that's necessary, here we are. Check me out. Find out what's going on. I think, again, charity with intelligence. People need to know what's happening. I don't want no one to give us money without just out of emotional feelings.
Right.
Or even make a decision not to do so because of a purpose that they might have that's not a necessity. This is a necessity. When kids come in there, so excited that they're getting food, and children are excited by just getting cereal, or the parent is actually, she's actually crying. And I'm thinking that maybe one of people in my staff was a little like nasty or something. No, she was crying of joy. She was so excited she didn't know where she was going to get her food from. And that's sad. So I think that when it comes into the hunger world, it really needs to be concentrated.
Right.
It really, really does. Food is very expensive, and I think that's what the biggest problem is too. So, years ago, I didn't have to spend $5 on a half a gallon of milk. And especially I have to drink, organic milk because I have a dietary need that allows me to consume that without wishing that I never did. I keep it easy. So when people are just buying, and they're not buying food that's really healthy because there's more money, so they're buying junk. And there's a reason why I see so many people getting sick. So it's a roller coaster of many things that are going on, even in the hunger world.
Right.
So I'm hoping that we'll find the security as far as food, but as we depended on like city council this year to help us, and I'm working on some of the other members. I only have 2 city council members that actually help us, and that's kind of scary, even though we're helping other areas. So those are their constituents,
Right.
but it seems it's not much of an interest to them. So,
But like, how much do you guys spend on food a month?
well, I mean, I don't know if I have to say that we need hundreds of thousands of dollars in food, because as long as we're going to need the security through EFAD and Food Bank, City Harvest, and so on, for the very well reason why they're funded, should give less pressure to the food pantry.
Right.
But there's only so much we can secure. So every year could be different.
Mm-hmm.
I could spend, $100,000. I can spend $125,000. 1 year I can spend $60,000. It
What,
depends.
yearly, you mean?
Yeah, I'm saying for extra food. We don't have the funding to do it. So that means if EFAD would say, sorry, we are going to have to decrease, the amount of funding to support, hunger, I can promise you, without any exaggeration, we're taking hundreds of families off, and probably no longer taking in new people.
Right.
That's going to be a guarantee, because it's not where, well, you just buy food. Well, I don't have a budget for it to begin with. So would I use my rent money? Would I use my staff money? I don't. We're a paycheck-to-paycheck organization. So how we made it for 27 years actually even surprises me. I'm not going to say, well, listen, I'm just the best, smartest ED in the world. No, I just been very fortunate that I had to put my faith into action and say, well, listen, we could be responsible for the effort, but the outcome is going to be in God's hands and in the hearts of those who are concerned, and in the hearts of those who are actually able to help keep something like this going.
Right. So were you aware of the city council debates about the increase in EFAP funding? Was that something you followed closely?
I'm starting to follow everything as much as possible as it comes out and it's
Right.
available for me to know. I'm glad that they're making it, if they're making the decision, that this is wonderful. This is the greatest decision I think that needs to be made. I'm hoping that, this will continue, because I know every year fluctuates.
Right. So that's the thing. They baselined $8 million more to avoid that kind of year-to-year fluctuation, and the justification from the city council speaker who I spoke to said that it was basically to give people like you a little bit more long-term security in your ability to make food purchases and kind of plan out how many people you'll be able to serve and that kind of stuff. That's why I'm just trying to get a sense of the numbers to see like how much you guys need yearly, just to give myself a sense, because I'm going to another food pantry as well. So just numbers are nice for comparison's sake and to get a sense of scale.
Well, I mean, I just received, a delivery from EFAT today, and to be honest with you, with this extra allocation, which was not even planned in the sense of I wasn't sure that it was going to happen, it now rested my decision on should I no longer take new people on. Forget about taking people off yet, but just hope, because we don't know that you're going to get through those months.
So it's either get more food
or reject people from coming to get help. That was definitely going to be our decision. Our second decision is going to be when we're going to start cutting different zip codes. Because we're not here to be impressive. We're here to make a difference, and I'm not going to go around and sign up people and then tell them just that's it, can't help you no more.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. So yeah, this was definitely a wonderful decision. I thank God that EFAT actually pulled through for us, so we can most likely get through the next 2 months. The summer months are pretty tough. So knowing that they will increase and hopefully continue with that increase, it will rest, a better feeling for us that we know that we don't have to panic and think, what do we do now? Should I take more people on? People, once they find out about you, they need you, I don't make a decision based on my personal feelings.
Right.
No, I don't care who you are and what you are. Once you're in need, then this is the place where you can come for that.
So this delivery, you said, is meant to last you through the summer?
We don't know if it will last us through the summer, but it sure will make a tremendous difference.
Okay.
For sure. And it actually prevented me from making the decision now to actually stop taking new clients on.
So, when you guys run out of food or run out of money, what's the process of asking EFAT for more funds, or how does that work?
Well, that's what we did do, and they actually followed through with
You
that.
just call, or is it like long, kind of drawn out?
No, they're very user friendly, if I may. They have a wonderful staff. I just express our need. They recognize the need, and
So
they have given us extra allocation to prevent. Like, they don't like the idea, like, we turn people away, take people off the system. Let's see what we can do about this. So their fight has brought blessings to people that are actually still coming here.
Right. So is that conversation with Food Bank for New York City or with HRA?
No, I went right directly through HRA. I mean, the Food Bank for New York City is like our mothership.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I have to go through them as well. But actually, I went right through HRA and I asked them what can be done. These are our situations. We are now falling into a shortage for food. We got months to come, but knowing that there really aren't going to be any extra allocations out there.
In terms of like food drives and that kind of stuff.
So that's going to be, okay, what do we do? So they said, well, we're going to give you some extra funds to order the food. And that's what put us at rest. We'll be okay for the summer. I don't know how it will be okay for the fall.
Right.
There's only so much that can be done, assuming. But I think that if that is kind of taken care of, it's going to make a tremendous difference on our food pantries.
So just to get a sense of the hierarchy, so the EFAT funding goes to HRA and they filter it through Food Bank for New York City, who then filters it down to you guys? How does...
Well, we're able to order our food
Uh-huh.
through the Food Bank's website, so to speak.
Okay.
Because everything that we get, everything is on my computer.
Uh-huh.
So smart.
Right.
They have a wonderful system, the Food Bank. Wonderful. So it's really not going to be the Food Bank's decision. It's going to be EFAT's decision if we can get extra allocation.
Right.
Food Bank is just the middleman, so to speak.
Right. So that's so the HRA kind of tells Food Bank who and how much.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. So we have to depend on EFAT.
And then I guess what do you think that people who live in the city but might not understand the scope of hunger and poverty, What's one takeaway that you'd want them to have based on the experience you've had working here for 27 years, serving these people?
Which people are they talking about? The ones who are in need or the ones that...
People who don't care.
Well, listen, there's a lot of people that
Or not even don't care. People who aren't aware of, the scope of this. Because I grew up in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, so like, I kind of understand what goes on in the city, how it's hard to live here. But a lot of people don't necessarily, because they come from elsewhere. They live in areas where they aren't necessarily exposed to these kinds of situations. So for those types of people, I'm curious what message you might have for them.
Well, I mean, listen, we've been an advocate against hunger from the beginning of time. We actually even do like the Walk Against Hungers and go out into our community. We would let people know that we do exist. I would ask them actually 2 questions. I would say, if you had a neighbor or a friend or bumped into somebody you never met in your life, and they said that they were hungry and how can they find help, what would you tell them to do? Where would you send them? And they will scratch their head and say, I'm not too sure. And that's when we would give them our literature and say, listen, help your neighbor in need. So you now know what you could do. You can inform that person that here is an organization that can help them put food on their table. When we have volunteers and students and children that come from high school to elementary school, we would show videos about food bank, about City Harvest. We want them to understand what hunger is, and hunger is not faced with people that look homeless. These are our neighbors that might live right around the block, if not right next to us, that struggle to put food on their table. So hunger is not prejudice. Anyone could go through food insecurity, even if they don't look like they are. So I think people are mostly aware of hunger when it comes to visually seeing them sleeping in the street. Well, they must be hungry. They don't really have it. But what about the persons that's living in an apartment, and by the time they pay their expenses and their rent and the utilities, there's not much in their cupboard. And how does people know? The only way they're going to know unless we tell them. And then they can make a decision if they want to do something about that. But I put a lot of energy into explaining what's going on as best as I can. There's no sense of me existing to be a food program without informing other people around me why we're here. What's the purpose and the reason for it? So I'll even go to schools and I'll speak to the children and let them know what's happening in our community or other communities, how we work and deal with hunger. When kids do food drives, they have no idea what's going on.
Right.
All right, I'll just bring a can or 2 to school. I let the kids come here and actually see what we do and how we do it and why we do it.
Is this kids from the same IS-48?
Yeah, there's children from, you have one school, I forgot where they were, PS-28. We just did a recent story on them. I think, they were excited for the fact that other than knowing now what's going on, but they had this compelling idea that they want to follow that process. They want to follow this legacy of making wrong right, bringing hope and relief to people that don't have. I think the most sensitive people are the ones that actually gone through it. You know what I mean? I didn't come from a family of steak. I remember bread and ketchup sandwiches. So I think people like that are more sensitive. And again, it can fall on a deaf ear, even if you do bring a presentation of what we do. We can't control that. So we speak out to the hearts of many, and some will respond, and some won't. What do you do?
Thank you so much for your time. This is really helpful. I really appreciate it. Could I what's your age?
Let's see, I lied so much I almost forgot. I'm 57.
Okay.
I'm 57. And just to let you know too, when it comes to like seniors and single parents and disabled, I had a percentage, I was looking through the system to find out almost 60% of seniors.
Of your patrons?
You know what, you can even have those.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so, this is where, again,
Do you know the percentages for single families and?
not really. I really didn't mark down in the
Okay.
system, like, well, I did put married or divorced or single, but it's still not going to help me to know.
Okay, I see.
But, it's a great percentage on everything. I mean, when you have that many families and people, it's not like, well, there's only 3 people that are, single mother. Another 8. There's a whole lot. But, yeah, I just think it's great that they're doing so. That's going to make a tremendous difference to us. And hopefully that will continue. But I mean, my main thing is, the New York Times deals with people that are in the stronger business world, right? So it's not like a nonsense paper where this tells you, like, Boy Scouts are doing in the community.
Right.
And I'm hoping that maybe they will be able to recognize that, okay, listen, I love giving, we do, and who? So as well as some people don't even know where to get their food from, sometimes foundations don't know where and who they should help.
Right. So
and-
what if we usually don't do this, but if I could direct people to a resource at the end of the story, what would it be? If someone wanted to reach out and donate, or someone wanted to volunteer, what would be like an umbrella organization that I could direct people to?
Well, I mean, we're simple. If the individual wants to do something, they can do that on our website. They can
Right.
call me. They can set an appointment. I can go see them. I mean, whatever. It depends on what level. If it's a foundation, they're intelligent enough to know that, they check out the website. They'll see how to contact us by email or whatever and say, hey, we want to see what you're all about.
Right.
That's all. They don't have to give me a dime to see what I'm all about. I'd rather them come here. And then you tell me if I'm right. See, if you walked in and you saw chandeliers and you saw a $200,000 salary from me, and you see that I'm paying, my janitor $100,000 a year, and you say, Tommy, you don't have a money problem. You have a budget problem.
Right.
You're not sorting this out right at all. No, we couldn't keep it any more basic, but the basic part can kill us, because as increases of rent and supplies and so on goes up, if I can't meet that, then we start to tumble down. So I'm just hoping that we can just make it happen. That's all. We don't need to put chandeliers up. We don't need to be impressive. It's not necessary. We don't have to buy a $100,000 truck to pick up food. No, just give me the used one. I'm good. Actually, that's what we're even trying to do. The van that we have now is like, I put more money into it. The only one who loves us is the mechanic. So I'm like, we don't need a brand new one, right? Just a used one. That's good enough, but not used to the point where it's going to cost me more money than I could have bought a new one. So again, I have to be some kind of smart. I don't want to look stupid if I buy things that are going to break down too quickly. Save $1 and spend 10.
Right. How have you guys had rent increases in the last number of years?
Yeah, well, we're getting one now, so it starts in August.
What is it going to jump from?
Not much. It's going to be, well, right now, I mean, our landlord is phenomenal. He's a wonderful person. Worked for the city as well, and charges a very, very low rent for the longest time. This is going to be a $200 increase, really. So it's not going to kill us at all. If he was the average landlord, we probably would have been out of here by now. We couldn't afford this place. But again, it's just that even increases all that. What's going to be really threatening to me is that we are going to go into a minimum wage jump. I don't disagree with it, because you can't live on, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But the problem is now that there will be up to $15 an hour, I might have to get rid of somebody, which now has to get rid of food, has to get rid of people, because where would I find the funding from? See, that's how tight we operate.
Right.
So I'm hoping that when we speak to foundations out there, somebody, we don't need a $600,000 park bench.
Right.
I mean, we can do with a $100,000 park bench. Can you just keep the families going here and let them have the food that they need? That's really what it'll come down to. Let me just give you, that's my card anyway, and my phone number, the email, the website. Well, I don't know, if you guys could do something outside of this story, I'll put a picture on the wall of my house, something like that. But I don't know. We put out so much requests and hope for, and we don't manipulate. I don't want to manipulate anybody. Right? You know, if you ask me for a favor, if you have to manipulate me, then you know what? If I'm going to say yes, I'm going to say no. But before I have you to answer that question, I'm going to show you the reasons why you should focus on the yes, only because people need to know what's going on. You know, and sometimes they really don't. So I'm hoping that the foundations that we've been trying to reach out to will recognize that this is the right thing. This is making wrong become right. And it's not because it's me. If I die tomorrow, somebody else will take over. If they do, they doubt it because they're not going to get paid for it. But they'll recognize the fact how important it is. You know. Well, once again, I just want to thank Food Bank for New York City as well as EFAB for getting us some extra food to get us through this tough time, especially in the summer. Actually, it's all year round, but we're having hard times right now. And I want to thank our City Council member, Justin Brandon. Thank you so much for being there for us. I know that you have a great concern for hunger in our communities that we serve, and your support is a tremendous thing for us, especially right now. And all our foundations and people that are chipping in to help us keep the good going. And for those foundations that are out there, we can really desperately need your help, and you can come to find us or investigate us, find out what we're about. You're going to see for yourself that I'm not giving a lullaby story, that this is a true thing, a true statement, that we do need support, monetary support, to keep this program going. So for those who would like to make a donation, you know, you can do that on our website. You'll see that at the end of this. And for the rest, if they want to contact us, it will also be at the end of this short news video.
Next order, please.
Thank you, everybody,
Next
for
order, please.
helping us keep the good going, and I'll update you on other news pretty soon.